Your mark, get set, go. Man, it's gone. Here we are live. His phone over there ringing with that little digital sound, little casino sound ringtone he got. Hey, man, you supposed to have that on silent. Look, he can't say that. Say something. All right. Say something.
I got one.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot you got your little switchblade on you.
Yeah.
Well, it's just going to be who can get who first.
That's right.
And my arm's longer than yours.
That's
right. I'm going to get you out. I'm going to impale you because my arm's longer.
You stick that arm out there, it's going to get cut off.
Man, listen. Quicker. All right. My arm length. Y'all see the title. It's a Tuesday night. And on Tuesday nights, even though that's the slowest night of the week, we're wired up around here. And right now, I stay wired up. I came out of the womb wired up. Okay?
You wired up.
As a matter of fact, I've had to take measures to suppress myself because I'm too wired up for most people. So I got all type of techniques that I have. I've gone to anger management, but there's a breathing technique, different things I do to distract me, to keep me from being so wound and wired up and getting so worked up. But he's over there laughing right now because he thinks it's funny. He thinks it's funny. Hey, man, it ain't funny. I was just holding those scissors. My scissors are longer than your switchblade, for starters.
But I'm quicker.
You're not quicker. And my arm is longer. All right.
Well, he cut off first.
Well, look, we gonna move on past that. This is just a glimpse of behind the scenes when we're in it, but it gets way more animated than that. This is toned down quite a bit. Man, I know you hot with that heavy.
I'm good, man.
This man got this heavy, thick, double thick orange hoodie. I know he's over. I know he's. It's 60. It got up to 67 degrees today, man.
I ain't sweating like you.
I'm sweating because I stay wired up. I'm worked up all the time.
That's hot coffee.
And the coffee it don't even have any effect on me anymore. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get on down to some serious subjects and topics. Listen, Mike, I'm gonna tell you something. This isn't an exclusive. I'm going to say this. People aren't going to be able to handle this, but eventually in time, and it might be 50 years from now, it's going to reveal itself. And I've mentioned this before, COVID. Reason why I'm talking about COVID, because COVID was intentional, okay? But it was a trial run, so to speak. They said, let's see how these people are going to react to this, because we're going to swoop in and we're going to usurp their personal liberties. We're going to tell them they can't go here, they can't go there. So they want to see how we reacted to having our movement restricted. Okay, now this is important. Don't think that this isn't important or COVID is behind us now. That's an out and out lie. Right. COVID, and more importantly, what happened during COVID is still relevant because they were sitting back, watching us from a high. Let's see how these people respond to having their personal liberties taken away. Let's see how they respond to having their movement restricted. Now, I'm gonna give some specific examples. You know, you couldn't fly, right? Right. Because they were worried about COVID being transmitted on the planes, right? Right. Put that out of your head. They really wanted to see how we responded to, and I'm going to give you separate examples, specific examples, how we responded to not being able to travel via the air. Why is that important? Because the Paris Climate Accords embodied within those, and France is already practicing this, they restrict how often, France is already practicing this, they restrict how often their citizens can fly. They're not a free society. And the premise for them restricting that is they say that they are protecting the climate. It's all based in that climate lie, okay?
Right.
So they got to see how we will respond, not being able to fly freely, okay? That's one thing they did. They wanted to see how we will respond, not being able to go to work. Now listen here. There's two things embodied in that. Your movement here on the ground level was restricted, and they had the spacing if you were able to be somewhere where other people were. And they wanted to see how well you responded to their commands. They wanted to see how well you responded to being stuck at home pretty much. And they wanted to see how you responded as far as what did you go and attempt to acquire first from the grocery stores and the convenience stores and the drug stores, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're watching this. They're monitoring us very closely.
Right.
They also wanted to see, and this is very important, they wanted to see how we responded to a universal basic income. Bam. You haven't heard this conversation. You haven't heard COVID discussed like this anywhere across the airways. Okay, across the airways. But I'm telling you, because the powers that be, in particular these globalists, the UN people and the World Economic Forum people and Klaus Schwab, et cetera, and all these radical leftists, Luciferian liberals throughout our country, they are the ones that are sitting back, in particular the ones at the high end of the food chain, and they want to see how we would respond to these things. They want to see how we would respond to a universal basic income. Because remember, during COVID, Mike, all the people that had to stay home, what did the government do? They provided them with payment. They provided them with a regular check. That's if it was not a COVID situation, that would be called a universal basic income. Because Soil and Green, exactly. And we've talked about Soil and Green before. Also, Brave New World. So they wanted to see how will these citizens respond to having their movement restricted, to not being able to participate in air travel as is embodied in the Paris Climate Accords, that they want to put that on us. They wanted to find out how we would respond to this universal basic income, et cetera, et cetera. So everybody was staying at home. The majority of people, unless you were essential. If you were non-essential, they provided you with a universal basic income. In this same globalist utopia that they prescribe for us, there are going to be a great number of people going to stay at home and be provided with a universal basic income. But you have to have some workers. You understand? It's just like with bees. You got your worker bees, and then you have the bees that do the fighting, and even the worker bees, eventually they would fight at all costs in order to protect the queen. What is the queen under this scenario? It's this globalist dystopian agenda. Okay, right. So they saw how we would respond to a universal basic income, and let me tell you, I'm going to tell you how we responded to it. Many people did not want to go back to work, and many people still haven't gone back to work. Now, why would you have? And here's the proof. Do you know how many millions of jobs are going unfilled right now? Millions of jobs. Mm-hmm. Millions of jobs. Under Trump, people were eager under Trump to go to work. We wanted to work because people once again were identifying with Americanism, in particular American exceptionalism. Trump made it popular to go to work because under Trump, not only did wages go up, and not only did more people go to work, prices fell. And as prices fell and wages went up and you got more people working, so now people have this excess income and people were taking trips. People were buying luxury items, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's the Trump effect. That's the effect that he had on our economy as a country and on individuals' personal economy. I just got a message today from somebody that was on a pretty large group call. And this was a corporate call, local corporations involved, all minorities primarily, a couple whites. The black people on this call came to the conclusion that I don't know why this just went out. This whole thing just went down. Came to the conclusion that we were better under Trump. So the message is beginning to be disseminated. Right. Not just because people like me are saying this, but people are beginning to tap into their common sense and say, wait a minute. Utilities were lower, gas was lower, mortgage was lower, rent was lower, interest was lower, food was lower. All of the essential consequential items that you have to pay for in order to make your life move, everything was lower.
Right.
Everything was cheaper.
Right.
So finally, to a degree, because this has never happened before, black people have been asleep. Now they are beginning to awaken and understand that, wait a minute, all we've ever gotten with these Democrats is promises. Promises, promises. You remember that song? I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. All we've ever gotten is promises. So now they're starting to see. And remember, Trump said, hey, just why don't y'all take the opportunity and give me a chance? Now they're starting to have regrets. They're starting to have buyer's remorse and say, you know, we should have given Trump a chance. And I will submit this. We know that they cheated during the 2020 election. We saw it take place right before our eyes, right?
Right.
That opportunity to cheat couldn't have happened if you had enough black people that were voting Republican, because the cheating would have been exposed more so, because you know, they account for minorities and young white females and suburban white housewives. They say, well, they all swung in Trump's and Biden's direction, you know, but if in reality, these black folks had been prepared to make the right decision and had gone out and voted for Trump in large enough numbers, it would have been more difficult for them to cheat and quote unquote compensate for, you know, that whole difference there and then cover it up, you know, because the numbers are the numbers. If you have 40% of black Americans voting for the Republican, how the hell can you then tell us on Wednesday morning, because, you know, we vote the first Tuesday in November, how the hell can you tell me when I wake up on Wednesday morning that Trump lost? Well, wait a minute. If we look at this thing numerically, ain't no way in hell he lost.
Right.
Because he got 40% of the black vote, which is what needs to happen this time.
Right.
But they got away with it this time because here's one thing they were able to do. A lot of ballots in a couple of swing states, ballots went out to every household. Every household isn't registered.
Right.
And every person in every household isn't registered.
Right.
And some households are vacant.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So who in the hell is filling out these ballots and turning them in? But let me tell you how they covered that, because that was never a question. Who in the hell is filling out the ballots? And this is why it wasn't a question, because a lot of people forget. In some states, they suspended signature verification and ID verification.
Right.
So if Joe Blow Donut walks in with a ballot with his stupid ass, and he doesn't have an ID because you're not requiring one, and he knows you're not going to do signature verification, well, we don't know if that son of a bitch is registered or not.
Right.
And you had that happening. And then when they were suspending the vote count, now why would you suspend the vote count on this national election when you're electing the president? How can you even get away with that? How do you say, okay, everybody go home? Like I literally saw the video in I think it was Michigan or either Georgia. Everybody go home and we'll resume tomorrow since this time. So why the hell are y'all straggling behind? That was my first question. I seen, okay, if you say everybody go home, then there should be authorities there, police, sheriff. It should be the sheriff should be there and say, okay, if y'all suspending the count, everybody has to leave. Right. The sheriff makes sure that everybody vacates the facility and they stand guard. That's how that shit is supposed to happen, and or the state police. But you got, as we saw on the video, a black mother and her daughter, right, with their raggedy, unprofessional asses saying, okay, y'all go home. We're going to pick up counting tomorrow, and everybody leave. Now you saw, I remember the video. Now the white folk that were obviously on the conservative, on the Republican side, they're thinking like, what the hell is this? And they were reluctant to go, and they had to keep, now y'all go. And some of them question like, well, what's going on? You know, well, they ushered all of them out of the building, out of the room and out of the building, but they stayed in there. Now, universally, I don't care what language you speak. I don't care what country or culture you from. If somebody does that, the some bitches that stay behind are up to something.
Oh, yeah.
That's universally understood. A 6-year-old could understand that. Wait, why you want me to leave? What are y'all? First question will come out. What are y'all about to do?
Right.
I mean, but this is why listen, Mike, this is important. And this is going to hurt people. Conservatives, Republicans, white conservatives and white Republicans, they're scared. They don't push back. They don't fight back because they've been conditioned to believe that if you push back or you fight back, they know they're going to get called a racist, a xenophobe, a homophobe, some type of a phobe. Okay? And they don't want that. In particular, they don't want to be called a racist. That's like the scariest thing on the planet to a white person, in particular, a white conservative, is to be called a racist. So in order to not be called a racist, you know what they'll do? They'll give up the baby in the bathwater. And that's exactly what the hell happened. They gave up the baby in the bathwater, and therefore Trump lost and Biden is in office. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm explaining to you, and I will continue to explain to you, that's why we had COVID. It was a trial run. But here goes something that's even more egregious, maybe, arguably, as it relates to COVID. Mike, who do you think is responsible for COVID? Well, you ask that question, and people they speculate. Don't bother speculating. I'm telling you tonight that North Korea, Russia, China, and Iran, and maybe to a lesser degree, even India was in on this conspiracy. Did you hear what I said, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Now, India, not so much, but I explained to people that, and last but not least, this is the most important part. Excuse me. The DNC, the Democrat Party. Who had the most to gain from, who had the most to lose from Trump winning? Well, obviously the Democrat Party.
Right.
Now, I'll save them for last. And I'm gonna break down why each one of those countries were participants, and along with the Democrat Party, were participants in rigging this election via COVID. Okay, those two are connected.
Right.
That's why they were able to lax the rules as it related to the election and suspend certain things and send all these ballots out and change how things were done at the polls and so on and so forth, and put all these drop boxes around. And you got people showing up in the middle of the night, dropping hundreds and thousands of ballots in the box. And that same person was just here earlier dropping in one, which was theirs. Then they show back up and all of a sudden, and they even trace their cell phones, ping their cell phones. And they're like, well, why does this person keep coming back? And then they got some video of people going to these drop boxes, dropping all these ballots in there. And the Republicans don't even have the balls to deal with that situation. And Democrats can just get away with anything. But let me tell you this, Mike. We'll start with the North Koreans. Trump had put that little son of a bitch under his thumb.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't firing off no rockets. He didn't want to do nothing because Trump done whispered in his ear, "I'll fuck you up." Trump told him. He whispered in his ear. So that he ceased. So, of course, he wants to get rid of Trump because he was used to being reckless. He was used to functioning with impunity, right? So he wants Trump out of there.
Right.
But as long as Trump was in there, he was going to listen to Trump. He was going to be Trump's boy. He was going to be in those photos with him, meet with him, everything, because he don't want Trump on his ass.
Right.
So he's going to do what he needs to do to keep Trump off of him. Because Trump let him know early on what the deal was, little rocket man. So North Korea was complicit. I'm going to probably save Iran and the Democrat Party for last. And this is important. This is so important. And they won't even tell you this. Next, you have Russia. Trump came in, shut down Russia, i.e. Putin's economy. Putin was making a gang and gaggle of money until Trump came in and told Germany, okay, you're no longer buying your oil, your natural gas from him. He killed the pipeline deal that they had going from Russia to China, running under the sea from Russia to Germany. He told the Germans, how the hell are you going to buy all these natural resources from Russia, who is your enemy and our enemy that we protect you from? Germany, we protect Germany. That's why you have all the United States, all of our troops stationed in Germany. They really don't have an army.
Right.
Because after World War II, that's part of the deal. Right. We protect you because we don't want you to build up an army again because we see what you did twice before.
Right.
And the last time with Hitler, he exterminated 6 million Jews. There's no way in hell we're going to let you have an army again. Right. And somebody come and weasel their way in and convince your country to go in the same direction that it went before.
Right. So
we protect them from Russia. So why in the hell? And that's a huge, massive cost to us. It costs a lot of money for us to protect and maintain protection for Germany and have all those troops stationed over and all that equipment, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what is a deterrent. That's why he doesn't do anything. Nobody's going to do anything to Europe because we're stationed all throughout Europe. So Trump came in, he shut down everything for Putin. So Putin, all of a sudden, his hands were tied. His money was at its lowest point ever. So Putin doesn't know what to do.
Right.
So Putin was in on it because he wants to get Trump out of the way so that he can be flagrant once again and function with impunity once again and do like he did with Obama. When Obama was in office, this is what Putin, they try to say that Trump was Putin's boy. Now you tell me who is whose boy. Obama's in office, and what happens? Obama and Hillary Clinton do the Uranium One deal with Putin, giving him all this uranium, and uranium is what he needs to make his nuclear weapons.
Right.
How intelligent is it when you give your enemy the primary component for making nuclear weapons?
Right.
That's very unintelligent. Now, who is whose boy?
Right.
In that scenario, it sounds like Obama is his boy and Hillary is his bitch.
Right.
You see, I keep this shit so real. They won't tell you this. They won't talk to you like this. And that's because they have restrictions, Mike. All these pundits behind these microphones that are sponsored by all these people, and they're on terrestrial AM radio, and even many of them are on the internet. And even the ones, the internet's supposed to be the free space, right. In particular if you're on Rumble.
Right.
But a lot of these cats, if you watch them, they got all this sponsorship, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and they're selling a lot of merchandise and stuff, so they're very restricted and limited on what they can say.
Right.
If you're restricted and limited on what you can say because of your relationship with your sponsors or whoever, then you ain't saying shit.
Right.
And you ain't really about the business of changing and transforming and protecting and enhancing and making America great again if you are willing to do a deal to where you can only go so far.
Right.
That means you're in it for the money,
right,
and the fame and the attention.
Right.
You see, I would never enter into a deal with anybody if it's going to restrict what I can say. And I had somebody try to offer me a deal that would greatly restrict and limit what I'm going to say. You got me stuck. You got me stuck coming from both directions. I had a conversation with somebody about that last night. I can't go into it because I get off track. But now listen, I explained to you why Russia wanted COVID. I explained to you why I'm going to explain to you why China wanted COVID. Well, once again, Trump had put all those sanctions, all those tariffs on Chinese products because for too long it had been a lopsided trading relationship, which I submit we shouldn't even have a trading relationship with China. And all of the manufacturing that's in China, we should pick it up and move it to Africa. Logistically, it's closer. And then we're not funding our enemy, another nuclear power that wants to ultimately destroy us. We're so naive as Americans, in particular, the more liberal Americans, those on the left. Oh, let's trade. Mike, look at me. Do you think you can trade with somebody and cause them to not have a disdain or a dislike for you and not want to usurp you and destroy you? Hell no. If they're hell bent on that because that's their ideology, they're not going to change their ideology. Sure, they'll trade with you because you have more than them. Right. And they can get consequential technological information from you, right, that they can eventually use against you. Right. And I submit to you and to the whole damn world, ATT is lying out their ass. Right. AT&T had no internal problem. Right. The damn Chinese shut that shit down. And they did it as a strong arm tactic to say, look at what we can do. Now, sure, we did respond back to them verbally through secret protected channels to let them know, hey, stop fucking with us because we can do something to you too. In particular, had Trump been in, it never would have happened. Right. Or Trump here's what would happen if they did that under Trump. Biden them said, hey, buddy, why don't you leave us alone? You don't want us to do something to you. That's their approach. You don't want us to respond. Trump would have said, called him up, listen here, son of a bitch. We realize what you did. And you're trying to threaten us. You're trying to use scare tactics with us. You want to be a bully. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shut such and such shit down in China tomorrow. And then we would have heard the next day, oh, by the way, all of this went out in China. Right. And people like me and you will know, well, that was Trump's response. But with Biden, they know there's not going to be any response because they're a bunch of freaking cowards. And it goes beyond it. See, this is a broadcast, and my time is limited. And what I'm saying is this: I could really go into depth about that, but I'm not. Maybe another day. The Iranians Let me tell you why they were involved. Because Trump had had put sanctions on Iran, and they were not getting the money and the resources in to continue their nuclear program. So they were participants in this whole COVID thing and unleashing this in order to get Trump out of there so that they could go back to producing uranium and sponsoring terrorism around the world. You see, Trump caused their funds to dry up so they couldn't continue their nuclear program to the degree that they had it going under Obama, who Obama cleared the path for them to make the bomb. That's the reason why they made a huge leap. They made a huge leap under Obama, but then all of a sudden they hit a roadblock with Trump. Then when Trump goes out of office, they make another huge leap under Biden. Mike, every day in Iran, they say that they're going to destroy America and Israel. And we talked about how they believe they're going to go to heaven and have 72 virgins. So if you knew tomorrow, it was a fact, you believed it was a fact that if you were a martyr and you died for Allah, you would have 72 virgins and then you would be propelled into heaven. Well, you go out here and strap all kind of bombs to you and blow up the first thing shaking.
Right.
What, I get 72 virgins and I live forever?
Right.
And I get to screw them forever? See, nobody knows. Let me explain something to you, Mike. They love to talk about, and they reference this, the 72 virgins in our American media. Right. Why they don't never, let's go beyond that. See, I'll go beyond. I won't just say 72 virgins and stop at that. I want you to really understand how diabolical these people's minds are and how they're really committed to this whole thing called Islam. When the real thing about 72 virgins is this, that means you get to go, and in theory, in heaven, you don't get tired, right?
Right.
It's heaven.
Right.
All you got to do is sit around and screw 72 virgins all day, every day. This sounds crazy, but that's what they're thinking.
Right.
In their mere mortal minds, this radical Islamist that's willing to go out here and blow up himself and everybody else, he's thinking, well, I get to go to heaven and screw all day. What other need would there be for 72 damn virgins in their heaven? What is a virgin for if a virgin is given to you as a gift and you're a man? That virgin is given to you so you can screw, right?
Right.
This is the realest shit that you're going to get. We keep it so real here. Now let's get on to the Democrat Party. Let me tell you, well, it's obvious. The Democrat Party needs to get Trump out of the way too so they can get back in power and continue on with their dystopian, Luciferian leftist movement.
Right.
Of absolute control over us. Revoking our civil rights and civil liberties and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what they're currently doing. Right. Want us to bring us under this globalist, dystopian, radical environmentalist control. Mm-hmm. Mike, people don't want the truth. Even the people that claim to come on the internet, whatever, they don't really want to know. They want to know so much, and then that's enough. They don't really want to know because the more you know, the more you got to do. Right. You see what I'm saying? Right. The more, hey, Mike, the more you know, the more you got to do. And then somebody, if you ain't doing it, going to say, well, why ain't you doing this? Because they understand, well, you're privy to such information, you should be responding like this. They don't want that burden. They don't want that responsibility. Right. You sleep different when you know certain things.
Right. You don't sleep at all.
My God, he said, "Oh, you don't sleep at all." That's what we're talking about here. And already, Mike, I'm sick and tired of these damn Republicans, conservatives. I'm the most radical Republican, the most conservative on the planet. And if you don't think so, just go back and look through the video and listen. Mike, they keep talking about Michelle Obama running for president in this cycle. Now, here's what they're saying. Biden is this old, broken down mannequin. And he's not going to hold up. He's not going to last much longer. And trust me, I do not like him. He is a through and through racist, radical, leftist, liberal, hate-filled Democrat. But his health is his health. And I don't want to mock his health. And I told you all that even before he began to be compromised in his thought, challenged in his thought process, debilitated mentally, he was still an intellectual midget. So when I say he's stupid, dumb, ignorant, slow, or whatever I call him in reference to his brain, it's not because he now has this debilitating disease as it relates to his brain. He was a stupid son of a bitch even before the disease came on. So I'm not making light of the disease. I wouldn't do that. I don't believe in doing that. But I watch Republicans do that daily. No, you don't need to make light of the fact that he has this disease. Hell, he's a clear and present target.
Right.
He's been there for 50 years. He ain't never been shit.
Right.
So, but my point is this. The Republicans are very fond of the idea that, not in a positive way, they just say this is going to happen, that Michelle Obama is going to end up running. They're going to put her in place of Biden. And the way that happens is you go on with the convention. Biden and Harris accept the nomination for a second time, okay? But after you get through the convention and so many days pass, there's an actual date, physical date, I don't know what it is, you can no longer, it's too late. If you then remove Biden and Harris, you can't, at that point, you don't get to go back and hold a new convention and leave it to the delegates. It has to go to a committee, a select committee. That committee is already poised and prepared to put Michelle Obama in there. And they believe that she could be successful. And here's what I say about that. And I can't say this enough. If they can give Michelle Obama certain assurances, she will accept that nomination. And it's still kind of up in the air because Michelle Obama, more than anything, this is what people don't know. She doesn't want people to know that she is a he, I believe.
She got Adam's apple.
She got a lot of things, a
Right.
bulge, but listen what I'm saying. And look at her next to other men and even women.
Look at her daughter.
Well, hold on, but let me say this, man. I think because, the president, while he's the president, he doesn't have a lot of privacy because it has to go through all these medical examinations, et cetera, et cetera. So I personally believe that she/he needs certain assurances that her secrets will not be found out.
Mm-hmm.
In particular, that secret.
Mm-hmm.
But the secrets go beyond that. There's other things that could surface as a result of her now being selected to run as president, okay? So she doesn't want none of this stuff to come out because she has created this image of herself, and all these people have bought into it, in particular these black females, and they put her up on this pedestal. They actually think that she's something. She's not sophisticated, okay? She's not pleasant on the eyes, okay?
Not at all.
She's
Obama.
To me, she's like a bull dagger. So, listen, Mike. She's racist. She always has something racist to say about white folks. She's blaming white folks for everything. But she has secrets, deep, dark secrets. And I believe that she's not going to accept that nomination unless they can assure her that these secrets will not come out. Second, it really gets crazy here. Obama is going to be her running mate. He's eligible to see, you're term limited twice. You can have 2 terms as president, but you can then serve as vice president. So then this is what the left wants. In their minds, let's get Michelle Obama for 2 terms, that's 8 years, with her husband, Barack Obama. And in their minds, they get 8 more years of Obama. That is what they really want to happen at the end of the day. This is it. The secret's out. And I've given you the details. Mike, Americans, I'm shocked. And I can't talk about this enough. And this is something that can be reiterated and ad nauseum, because here's the deal, Mike. Chinese illegals are pouring over the border. Pouring over the border. Those are secret agents.
Mm-hmm.
Those are secret military agents, being sleepers, being sent here and spread out across our 50 states.
Right.
Strategically.
Right.
So that when the time comes, they can then commence with the whole usurpation and takeover process of America.
Right.
Senator Limp Dick Durbin, and I talked about him last time, Senator Limp Dick Durbin, and I showed y'all the video of this idiot, this monkey, this disgusting, irreligious, funky, irreligious Jewish dude. Now, pause, because everybody loses their ass when you say something negative about somebody that's Jewish. I'm not talking about the Jews. I love the Jews, but I don't give a shit about these liberal, irreligious Jews. And to calm you all down even further, because you know everybody gets their panties up in a damn bunch, in particular these social media platforms when you say something like this. So let me be clear. A liberal, irreligious Jew is just that. They're not the whole of the Jewish community. I'm talking about one segment, because I have nothing but love for the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not like liberal, irreligious Jews because they're destructive. Just like, and I'm going to say it, niggers, ER, are destructive in the black community and to blacks and everything around them.
Right.
We see it. Last night behind my house, somebody got murdered. And you know who did it? Another black. So here's my point. These liberal, irreligious Jews are doing everything they can do to identify with the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And the enemy does not love them. The enemy does not care about them. The enemy would love nothing more than to propel them into another Holocaust, if you will.
Right.
For the life of me, I would not understand how liberal, irreligious Jews can be so stupid to where they will identify with the same type of individuals that killed 6 million Jews.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, it's only been 80 years ago. This only 80 years, you mean you've forgotten already? And they like to say never again?
Right.
I can't tell. Because they're aligning themselves with the Democrat Party, who's aligning themselves with these radical Islamists and all those people over there in the Middle East who had aligned themselves with Hitler.
Right.
This shit isn't even difficult you don't need a forensic scientist. All it takes is a cursory glance. No more than 10 freaking minutes
Right.
to tie all this together. They don't even try to hide it.
Right.
Any willing, inquiring mind can take nothing more than a 10-minute cursory glance and discover, like, whoa, what the hell? What are these people up to? Are they trying to be destroyed again? Mike, it's only 17 million Jews on the planet. You going to play games like that? That's not a lot of people.
Nope.
But you're going to keep playing games, identifying with the very people that destroyed you before and seek to destroy you again, aligning yourselves with them politically and socially. And then these liberal, irreligious Jews are some of the biggest advocates and financiers of abortions and abortion clinics and all type of promotional material related to having abortions. How the hell can you, as a liberal, irreligious Jew, sit around and talk about never again? And we can't forget the Holocaust, but you're financing this Holocaust in America called abortion, you mangy mutts. And listen, just so y'all can social media platform people, because you want to, well, we're going to warn you, we're going to strike you. Listen here, once again, use your mind. I'm not talking about Jews. I'm talking about liberal, irreligious Jews. I'm not talking about black folks. I'm talking about niggas. I'm not talking about good white folk. I'm talking about white trash. And it goes on and on and on, whatever people we may be talking about. Because every group and race of people got to have that entity, that faction within them that ain't shit.
Right.
And you're destructive. You're a bunch of animals. And I don't care how much money you got, how many titles and degrees you hold, I can see through you. I can smell you.
Right.
Hey, Mike, they think a nice suit and tie and jewelry and a lot of cash and a house up on a hill and all these titles and so on and so forth can hide the stench of liberalism? No, it can't hide it. Luciferianism? Mike, can you hide the stench of Luciferianism just because you got put makeup on a pig?
No.
I don't give a damn how good of a makeup artist you are. I don't care. If you put makeup on a pig, I'm going to say, well, that's a motherfucking pig.
Right.
Come on, man.
From
You
the
can, from the smell. That's what we're talking about here. I can smell these liberals.
Right.
Mike, I smell them. Mike, I smell these stinking, dirty.
They must be close.
Oh, they're everywhere, Mike. They're beyond close. Mike, they're everywhere. You know Michael Rappaport, the actor / comedian. Yeah. He's now back in Trump. He was the biggest anti-Trump person on the planet. Some of these stupid liberals are waking up. Now, he's going to continue to be a liberal and identify with all these Luciferian dystopian things. But at the very least, he's going to go to the poll and select Trump. Now, that's fine. I don't mind using that raggedy son of a bitch for a vote.
Right.
But I do not condone all these so-called conservative platforms. You know who you are, bringing Michael Rappaport on. Screw Michael Rappaport. He ain't worth bringing on as a guest just because all of a sudden he realizes that Trump is right and Biden is wrong. And he's going to now go vote for Trump. Don't bring him on and glorify him. Right. Don't give him a platform.
Right.
Let him go on some liberal platform and talk about that. But don't bring him on a conservative platform. See, this is another thing as conservatives. They love to do this. Anytime any black person or some mangy ass or white liberal decides to say, well, I think I'm going to vote for Trump, they run out and they glorify him. Oh, Charlemagne the devil. He got to talking about Biden in a negative way, and all the conservative platforms and news shows want to talk to him, interview him. Why would you bring this dude on? He still subscribes to abortion on demand. He still subscribes to LGBTQ sodomite marriage and every other Luciferian thing that you can imagine. Right. But just because he says that he's considering not voting for Biden or considering somebody is considering vote for Trump, they completely forget about all that and bring him on. Right. And prop him up and give them more validity. Right. And help to grow their audience and influence. That's stupid. That is so damn stupid. I'm going to give you another one. CPAC just happened, Mike. Now, Mike, you're not conservative with CPAC. CPAC is where the conservatives get together, I think, every quarter. And they bring in the quote-unquote influential conservatives or the person that's making the most noise within that quarter. Mm-hmm. Via the media, social media, whatever. And so they brought on Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard is, I think she's trying to say she's no longer a Democrat. She was a Democrat representative. She served in the military, and she was a representative from Hawaii, okay? Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, it started back when her and Hillary Clinton were at odds. Because Tulsi didn't want to necessarily subscribe to everything that Hillary Clinton was laying out. So Hillary Clinton then begins to go after Tulsi Gabbard, her own Democrat counterpart, right, because she wasn't 100% on board with everything that they were doing over here on the left. But she was still subscribing to the sodomites, being married in our churches, abortion on demand, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, including all the way up until people are subscribing to that on the left, all the way up until after birth. Right. There's states where even after the child is born, you can say, I don't want that child to live, and they will eradicate that child's life. Mike, here's the thing. Tulsi Gabbard is still a liberal. piece of shit. I don't give a damn that she now recognizes that Trump is the way politically in the United States right now. I don't give a damn that she recognizes that Biden is not the way. I don't give a damn if she had military. See, that's another thing. Everybody wants to give everybody a pass. Well, she served in the military. Anybody can serve in the military.
Right.
That's not justification for supporting them. You know how many people in the military ain't shit?
Right.
So just because they have military service, all of a sudden I got to say, well, I guess I got to support them. I guess I get no. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, and that's another problem we got on the right. We're so enamored with the military. Any Joe Blow schmo that comes along and says I served in the military, we think we got to bow down to him and worship him. That's bullshit. Tulsi Gabbard should not have been in CPAC. Conservative outlets should stop having Tulsi Gabbard on there because she's a piece of shit liberal. That hasn't changed. So what if she's going to support Trump? Let her go and support Trump in her own time on these leftist platforms. Stop bringing her on, giving her validity. Because y'all keep wanting to immerse yourselves with them, and pretty soon, we are them. That's the reason why all these fucking Republicans are running around here now talking about they condone this and they condone that. They're signing off on everything dystopian. They're signing off on everything Luciferian. You know why? Because they don't want to offend nobody. Right. And they don't want to be called out by nobody. Right. Well, if you don't stand for nothing, you're not going to be called out. And that's the way they want it. Because they don't want to be challenged. Well, at that point, you are a Democrat. If you concede everything to the left, you become the left. This shit is so simple. But all these sons of bitches running around with these suits and ties on, pontificating, typically they're lawyers, they're running for this, they're running for that, or they hold this particular public office. You know what they're constantly telling us? They want us to leave the whole LGBT sodomites alone, let them be in the schools, let them marry in our churches, build them websites, bake their cakes, do all the shit, meet all their demands. Right. Okay? Right. Then they say leave abortion alone in the first trimester, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that's when the majority of them happen. So then you're saying, well, let's just allow them willy-nilly. Am I right? Right. So if we concede all these, as far as the environment, they're conceding the environment to the left. Well, let's do this. Let's accept this. Let's accept that. Let's accept this dystopian rule as it relates to the environment. So if we keep conceding on every issue, then in effect, we are Democrats. Right. So why in the hell do we continue to hold our own convention and call ourselves something other than that? Because you're functioning like a Democrat. Therefore, you are a Democrat. Mike, listen, I do not fucking fit into that category. I don't give a shit about how these liberals feel. I don't give a shit about how these LGBTQs feel by me calling them out on this shit. I don't care about these radical environmentalists and how they feel. I don't give a shit about Planned Parenthood and them being financed and funded. I don't give a shit about none of you sons of bitches. And the list is even longer. I don't care about you calling me a xenophobe because I want a big ass wall to keep all these raggedy ass illegals from crossing the border. 10 million in 3.5 years. You can kiss my ass. If I'm going to sit around here and feel some kind of a way. I can't say that because I got to tread like that. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit, Mike. I don't even know how to make that more clearer. Mike, man, I want a big ass wall. Don't come talking to me about no asylum. Don't come talking to me about it's hard in your country. Damn it, we can pick out groups of people. When the first people started coming over from Ellis Island with 2 nickels in their pocket, from Western Europe, okay, looking for a new opportunity, broke as a son of a bitch. And let me tell you why that's different. We asked them to come. We needed them to come because the country was going so rapidly due to the Industrial Revolution. Right. We didn't ask these sons of bitches to come over, these 10 million people. Biden them did. Oh, yeah. We don't need them. Yeah. We have enough people here to meet our demands as it relates to employment and et cetera, et cetera. Mike, Americans are so stupid. I'm the first person to say this. I heard somebody else say this the other day, a semi-prominent person. I've been saying this for the longest time. Stop telling this lie. We're not a country of immigrants, you dumbasses. Listen, first of all, I'm not an immigrant. My daddy wasn't an immigrant. Right. His daddy wasn't an immigrant. Right. His daddy wasn't an immigrant. And his daddy was brought over on a damn fucking slave boat.
Right.
Slaves aren't immigrants. That's somebody brought here against their will.
Right.
And then the people that come willingly, but illegally can't be an immigrant because they came illegally.
Right.
Immigrants come one way. I told you, by rule of law and by invitation, and they go through the process. That's an immigrant.
Right.
And then you hear Fox, and I don't give a damn what pundit you name. They say, oh, we got all these illegal immigrants. That's the dumbest shit in the world, an illegal immigrant. You can't be an illegal and a damn immigrant, you monkeys.
Right.
I've laid that shit out so many times, and I have to hear that shit every day. You want to know why? Because these people are intellectually lazy. They don't do their due diligence. They don't take time to think things out. They're a bunch of fucking... I'm trying to think. Mike's laughing. I'm laughing too. What's the fucking bird that repeats everything you say?
Dodo bird.
What bird keeps something?
Dodo bird.
Because all they do is repeat talking points.
Man.
A damn parrot. Shit, they're a bunch of parrots. That's all they are, man. All they do is repeat shit they done heard. And they think that, and wait, man, this shit gets classified as journalism and journalists and pundits and shit. How you, just because you repeat everything you say? Man, I'm thirsty.
Boy, you don't want some coffee?
I'm sweating.
I guess so.
Mike, this stuff is insane. I'm going to give you a fact. You ready for this fact?
Yeah.
It's going to blow your socks off. If it doesn't blow your socks off, your socks were on too tight. Cobalt is a mineral resource, primary component in the making of batteries, in particular these batteries for these automobiles.
Mm-hmm.
Who's mining the cobalt? The cobalt is being mined in Africa, primarily, I believe, in the Congo. You don't get no blacker than the Congo.
Mm-hmm.
The people in the Congo are blacker than my hair,
Mm-hmm.
where you don't see gray.
It's blue black.
Here, blue-black. You got all these little kids in the Congo mining this cobalt dying. The life expectancy of the little black kids in the Congo mining all this cobalt is 20 freaking years. Okay? In order to have a 20-year life expectancy for children, that means a massive amount of children are dying far prior to being 20 years old.
Right.
Because we're talking averages here.
Right.
Mike, I take an intellectual approach because I want people to really understand what's happening here. Mike, it's the liberal whites, the liberal Democrat whites, the liberal progressive whites that started this whole thing of we've got to have cars that run on batteries. We got to have everything running on batteries. And we've got to get this cobalt. At the expense of who, you liberal whites that claim to care so much about the little black kids?
Right.
You're a lie.
Right.
Because in order for you to have your cobalt and your fucking batteries, you want all these little black kids in the Congo to die. Now, many of them are working in these mines against their will. Guess what that means? It means they're slaves.
Right.
So you white folk, you liberal white folk in the United States of America that talk about how you care about everybody so damn much, you are full of shit. Mike, these damn things, let me tell you, you're full of shit. Because you go to any little liberal lily white person right now, and in particular these little lily white, these, on the college campuses, I've talked to them. They get so beside themselves, but the black people are so oppressed, and we care about the blacks and the kids and this and that. They need this and that. You bitches are liars. Whether you're on Miami University, Xavier University, UC, Dayton, Northern Kentucky, UK, Louisville, and I'm naming all the schools here in this region, you're a bunch of stinking freaking liars, acting like you care about Black Lives Matter. You're a damn lie. These are the same people wearing the Black Lives Matter t-shirts, want this freaking cobalt mine, and all these little black kids are being enslaved to mine it and or killed.
Mm-hmm.
And they walk around with these damn shirts talking about free Palestine. What about freeing the little black kids from the cobalt mines that you got in there? Because you want your cobalt so you can have your electric vehicles.
Right.
You some dirty, rotten sons of bitches. Ain't nobody else gonna tell them this, Mike. You know why? Because white conservative Republican pundits don't want to say nothing wrong about young white girls or suburban white housewives because they want their vote. Right. Kiss my ass. All of you. Mike, in order to get enough cobalt to manufacture one battery, you have got to move 500,000 pounds of soil. In order to move, Mike, because you work with heavy equipment and stuff, in order to move 500,000 pounds of soil, you got to use a whole lot of damn diesel fuel in the machinery that's moving it. According to the left, I don't believe this, but using their language, that's killing the environment, right? So they're going to kill the shit out of the environment to manufacture one battery. And you got all these kids that are enslaved to get the batteries out of the mines and dying on average at 20 years old. You see, white liberals are racist as hell. White liberals don't give a shit. They will sacrifice your black ass, your country, the environment, everything to have their lifestyle how they want it. Right. And then turn around here in the United States of America and have Black Lives Matter signs in their front yards, Black Lives Matter bumper stickers on the back of the car, Black Lives Matter t-shirts walking across campus. You bitches ain't shit! Sean Hannity ain't gonna tell you that. Mark Levin ain't gonna tell you that. Glenn Beck ain't gonna tell you that. Joe Rogan ain't gonna tell you that. Officer Tatum ain't gonna tell you that. I'm just trying to think of these some bitches. They're not gonna tell you that. Right. They're not gonna tell you that. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. Mike, listen to this. They also tell us, I'm spitting facts. They say that they're saving the environment. They are now talking about they're saving human lives by choosing to take this leftist approach towards the environment, right? That's a lie. Listen to this, Mike. The fact that we have used fossil fuels to build up society, to develop all this technology and medicines and all these things that, listen, Mike, expand human life. Life expectancy prior to the Industrial Revolution and us utilizing fossil fuels and developing all the things that we can develop out of oil and all the things that are life-sustaining that come from fossil fuels one way or the other. Let me tell you what has happened as a result of that. Over the last 100 years, we've reduced human deaths as a result of weather by 99%. What I'm telling you is this, Mike. Fossil fuel and us accessing them to the extent that we need to access them has expanded human life, saved lives, expanded life expectancy, and saved lives, okay? Giving us a lifestyle that's second to none. People on the earth have never lived as luxurious as the poorest Americans live. The poorest Americans live a very luxurious lifestyle in comparison to everybody. In particular, as you go back a few years and ultimately a half a century or a century and beyond. Right. Mike, poor people in America that don't work have cars, cell phones, smartphones, heat, air conditioning, refrigerators, access to so many things. Quite often, people that fall below the poverty line in America, those so-called households below the poverty line, have more things that are non-essential, therefore could be considered to some degree a luxury item, have more non-essential things than people that go to work every day. Listen, just about every poor person in America had a flat screen before I ever had one. Right. And that's going to work every day. Right. Mike, listen. How often do these people change cell phones? New cell phone come out, they run out and get one.
6 months.
I got the same little old, I don't even know if this is considered, Mike, I don't even know if this qualifies as a cell phone at this point, as a smartphone. This, what I'm holding in my hand, is my phone. This technology, this phone is so ancient. You know how many models have come out since? 100 models have come out since I got this. Because I can't justify running out getting a new phone each time phones come out.
Right.
But poor people do it.
Yeah.
People below the poverty line.
Yeah.
People that don't work.
Yeah.
Or that work part-time.
$1,500.
Mike, I swear, I'd be like, what? How they get that?
I don't know, man, but if they ain't coming with no steering wheel, I don't want it.
I'll never forget the first time somebody saw, once, you know, when flat screens popped up and people were throwing them on their wall stuff, I still had that big TV with the box in the back.
With the big picture tube.
Two picture tube, as I'm about to say. Mike, and I would always think to myself, well, hold on, they don't even work. How they got that? They don't even work. And, you know, they cost a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
And do you remember how heavy those televisions were to move? The big, man, the old with the picture tube.
Yeah,
My God.
Taking it upstairs.
Exactly. Mike, man, this shit is a joke. And they got these black people running around here in America thinking that they got it so bad. And nobody in the history of the world has ever had it better.
Right.
This is the best it gets.
Right.
2024, United States of America, it doesn't get any better than this.
Right.
Now we're on the decline because of all this Luciferian dystopian shit that the left is shoving down our throats and up our asses. Pun intended. Because they're trying to shove it up your ass, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do.
Mike, man, this stuff it's scary what's happening and what's going on. But what's even more scary is everybody's asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's even trying to do anything about this. What about the Venezuelan dude that killed a poor little college student down in Georgia?
He shouldn't have been here because they done kicked him out the country twice.
Right, and he had been arrested. So why didn't you hold this dude until, you know, here's the thing, Mike. Those are Democrat, liberal, leftist attorneys that are getting these people out, that are letting these district attorneys that are letting these people out. So that shows you that they have no compassion for the public when they want to, all across the country and all our major cities, release these people.
Right.
And just let them go.
Right.
This guy goes from New York. How in the hell did he end up in southern Georgia? Now, Mike, here, listen. If I'm a white person in America, and I'm not one of these stupid liberal whites, here's what I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. See, they can't say it because somebody's gonna call them racist. I'll say it for you. I'm gonna be thinking now, and I don't think this makes me racist. If I'm this white person right now.
Right.
I'm a middle America, Southern America, a white person that lives in the Midwest or the South. All of a sudden, you got these illegals showing up and your daughter's murdered or your son is murdered by some black dudes that robbed him. I just saw that the other night on Dateline or some damn place I saw it. I'm going to start feeling real kind of undercover racist. Mm-hmm. Mike, I don't give a shit. In my head at night, I'm going to be like, these damn spicks done came over here and ruined my life, turned it upside down, done killed my baby. These good, hard-working, middle-class American white folks done worked their ass off to send that baby to college. And then when you send your baby to college, you figure she's safe. She's at college. You think she's safe. She's getting an education, socializing, growing up. Mm-hmm. When your child is at college, you feel comfortable because you think they're safe. It's their first time away from you, but you're like, well, they're on this university campus. You have university police, city police. There's all these things in place to keep them safe. She's out for a run. I think the situation was she rejected his advances. And his stinking response to her rejecting his advances, which she had every right to do, is, well, bitch, I'm going to kill you. You see the thought process there?
Mhm.
But Trump came down the escalator and he told us that they were sending the fucking worst, didn't he? Didn't he say they were opening their prisons and allowing those people to come up here?
Right.
Didn't he say they were sending rapists and murderers?
Right.
Damn it, Trump was right. But I was saying it before him. It's just that he had the microphone and the cameras on him. I've been saying that shit. Hey, Mike, they all need to apologize to Trump. He was right.
Oh, yeah.
They were sending nothing but dirty dog animals up here. That's primarily who's coming. And if you look at any of the video, what do you see? A bunch of young adult males.
See,
This ain't no poor families coming out, want a better way of life. First of all, Mike, they need to make their better way of life where the hell you from. Keep your ass down there and improve your situation. I'm sorry, go ahead. What were we going to say? Please lean into the mic so they can hear you.
well, they should have learned when England let their prisoners go and come to America. And now the Mexicans is letting their prisoners go. So we went 360.
Well, here's the thing, Mike. You got the El Salvadorians, the bad El Salvadorians coming, the bad Guatemalans, the bad Mexicans, the Chinese. There's Russians coming. There's Iranians coming.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming. All your enemies, all the countries that have said we want to destroy America, they got people coming across the border as well. And we allow that. And Biden and Harris don't say, Mike, I don't even know how to put the words out here right now because I'm so angry, man. These people get to sit up there every day and they get in front of the camera and they blow smoke up your ass. But people are steadily coming across the border from countries that have said that they're going to destroy us. Why is that okay? And you know what? Let me go back. Let me stay on this border for one quick minute. Then we're going to wrap this shit up. I said this before. I'm going to say it again. Governor Abbott of Texas is a monkey. He's stupid. He's a piece of shit. And all of you sons of bitches that are cheering him on right now, because look at Abbott, he put up the razor wire. Look at Abbott, he deputized such and such people. Look at Abbott, he brought in the National Guard. Look at Abbott, he's bringing in the Texas Rangers. Look at Abbott, he's bringing in the state troopers. Look at Abbott, he's doing this and that. Listen, this shows how politically illiterate you people are. And I'm talking to conservative Republicans. I'm talking to Texans. How in the hell can you praise Abbott 10 million people later?
Mm-hmm.
Abbott should have shut that shit down in the beginning. Damn what the federal government was talking about. Texas has every right to defend this Texas border. And if the Texas border just so happens to be the border for the United States, for the federal government, so be it. So that means both of them are entitled to do something about it. And if the United States government is going to protect the border, then Abbott, you should have did it from day one and not allowed all those sons of bitches in, you raggedy motherfucker. And that's why that kid is dead.
Yep.
In Georgia.
Yep.
And in many other places around the country.
Yep.
Mike, I'm pissed, man. They want to praise Abbott because now he's doing too little, too late. He's doing Mike, what world are we in where this governor can allow 10 million people across his border? And now all of a sudden he decides to get tough and they want to congratulate him and prop him up on a pedestal and say how great he is. You people are stupid. Mm-hmm. I'm sure I could piss you off. I'll make you turn this shit off if you ever turn it on. I'm going to keep it too real for you. And that Texas, I said this before, I'm going to say it again because I like to say this. Much of what I say is worth reiterating. Mike, how many times do we hear people in Texas talk about how great Texas is? Everything in Texas is bigger. Mm-hmm. Texas should be its own independent country. Mm-hmm. Texas is this, Texas is that. Texans are the backbone and Texas strong, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Texas, you ain't shit. New Yorkers like to claim all that shit too. And they claim it and yell it so often and louder than anybody. And they are the two most egregious when it comes to being pushovers and stupid. Now, Texans, you're not going to like me because of this. And New Yorkers, you won't like me. But Texans, you allow 10 million people in. If Texas was so tough and all you cowboys were so rough and tough, why didn't you rustle up a bunch of other cowboys and y'all occupy, line that border? Let me show you how weak Texas is. All these liberals in Seattle, what they do, had the chops on. They occupied, said, we're taking over. Did the federal government do shit?
Mm-mm.
Didn't do a damn thing, right?
Nope.
And Trump was in office. Did he send them in there to bust that up?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So if these mangy ass liberals can occupy Seattle and take over Seattle and tell the government, you stay out and you better not come in and get away with it, how is it that Texas couldn't form a chop zone along the border and tell them damn illegals, you ain't coming in our country over our dead body?
Right.
They couldn't get together and block the border, but Texans, you're supposed to be so rough and tough and rugged and strong. Texas, listen, Mike, Texas had the opportunity to prove all this bullshit that they like to say about themselves was true, and all they had to do was go down there and occupy the border and block all these illegals from coming across. They had their opportunity and they blew it. So now you have showed us, Texas, that you ain't shit. So all you cowboys with your 10-gallon hats and your boots with your spurs on the back and your F-150s, it's a fucking act. Now let's move to New York, then we're going to get out of here. And New York, y'all like to say New York strong and New York can endure anything and New Yorkers are tough and this and that. Y'all ain't shit. You're a bunch of punks. Because you people let all these illegals come to your city and take over that son of a bitch. Y'all ain't done shit. If you New Yorkers were so tough, you stop killing one another and selling dope to one another and push all these people out of your city. And tell the government they can go shove something up their ass, but you won't do it because you're cowards. And you're preoccupied with living your little lives. And then you same New Yorkers that claim you this and claim you that, you're obviously stupid because you vote in people like AOC and all the rest of these dumb radical leftist liberals. So New York and Texas, you can kiss my ass. And let me stop.
Don't stop now. Get down.
Oh, I'm going to get down. This is going to be another episode. I'm the get down man. Well, if you happen to tune in live, thank you. If you're tuning in later, thank you. But until next time.